Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I have changed location. Right now I'm in beautiful Mexico, and I'm sorry the surroundings are not very inspiring, but I'm just in a complete white room, so that's why everything around me here is white. In today's video we are going to try to answer the question, when will the real estate market top out? But before we do, please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, click on the bell, click on all if you don't want to miss anything. Leave me a comment or share it with your friends if you think this is useful. Now without further ado, let's dive straight into the content. In Florida, housing prices have been skyrocketing more than 18% in the last 12 months. Single-family homes are being overbid with more than $100,000 per home. And in some European countries, half of all the offers that's being made is over asking price. Zillow, an online platform that's active in the real estate market, exits the home flipping business after their algorithm cannot just make any sense anymore of the current market conditions. Housing prices are breaking record after record, selling for millions, tens of millions, and even hundreds of millions of dollars. That you might ask yourself, how did we get here and did everybody just got nuts? The current situation is something that we call a perfect storm of conditions or a perfect storm of circumstances, because the current situation is due to three very important things. One of the reasons lays back in the credit crisis of 2008. At that time, a lot of real estate companies went bankrupt. Investors didn't want to touch real estate anymore with a 10-foot pole, and therefore not enough real estate is being built. And right now we are still running behind the facts because there's still a lot of people looking for a home and there's just not enough offer on the market. Second is the historical low interest rates. Because there's so much money printing going on now by the central banks, therefore the interest rate is going down and down and down, and therefore the interest rate on your mortgage is super low. And third being the unemployment rate, which is also already for years on record lows. Because as long as people have a job, they are making money and they are willing to put that money into a down payment for a home or just pay it every month on a mortgage. But not all countries are enjoying a soaring housing market. For example, in Vietnam. And I bring this example up because I used to live in Vietnam for most of 2020. I entered the country just in the beginning and then COVID hit. The government responded very swiftly to close all borders, so you could only leave the country and not go in anymore. Result, all the tourists slowly just went home, all the expats went back home, and even foreign companies closed down or brought all their employees back to their home country. The result is that I have literally seen a lot of hotels switching off the light and it just never went on anymore. And also the real estate market has gone through a tremendous bear market. For example, let's say in theory you would now be able to travel to Vietnam, then you can rent a simple apartment for around $200 a month. And a single family home goes as cheap as $400 to $500 for an entire month. It's absolutely mind-blowing, especially when you think about the current rental or real estate prices. Right, now let's go back to the Western real estate market, because if we can answer the question what will remain this madness, then we also know what to look out for signs of the market topping out. And the first thing that will sustain this madness is rising salaries, because as long as you're making more and more money every month or every year, you're also able to get a higher mortgage. Second, being the interest rates, of course, because if they are low or they will go lower, then you of course are also able to lend more money and therefore get a higher mortgage. Third, being the inventory, because as long as supply cannot catch up with the demand, there will always be a shortage, therefore the prices will always stay high. And fourth, being the unemployment rate, because as long as people have a job, they are making money and they are able to do a down payment or they are willing to buy a house. And let's be honest, if you don't have a job, you're not thinking about when you want to buy a house, you just want to make an income as soon as possible. So unemployment rate is super important. So to answer the question, when will the real estate market top out? Well, the answer is actually it is anyone's guess. Most experts think that the increasing housing prices will continue in 2022 with close or over double digits and maybe even into 2023. And another factor that is playing part that is kind of new since the last decade is the flood of investors into the market. Investors buying up most apartments and houses and then just rent them out for top dollar. This has become such a big problem in some countries that the government took matters in their own hands, and they now have rules and regulations that some investors need to also live on the same address as that they're buying. So they're kind of pushing some of the real estate investors out of the market. Or in some countries they say you can have only one or two houses other than the one that you live in. So far we have not really seen the effect, but that could also be because some of the rules and regulations are pretty new. Personally, I do not think that the current housing market will cause the next big crash. Just for the reason is that because most crashes in history, let's take the last 50 to 100 years, crashes never happened the exact same way. Now there is a theory about something that's called the everything bubble, where just everything goes down, the stock market, the real estate market, the crypto market, everything goes down. That could be, and then the real estate market goes together with the other markets. But right now, because of the current conditions that I mentioned before, I do not think that the real estate market will cause the next big crash. Now here are a few factors that you might be looking out for that could signal the top of the market. I will right away mention the most two important factors for me personally. One being the interest rate, right now at a record low, but also inflation is rising and rising. Now it could be that the central banks are deciding to raise interest rates just to fight the high inflation. If that happens, then also the interest rates on mortgages will go up and people will not be able to buy their dream home anymore. Second being the unemployment rate. Also right now very low, but as soon as that starts spiking and people are losing their jobs, buying a home will not be on their priority list anymore because simply money is just not coming in anymore. So unemployment rate and interest rate are super important. And the other two, inventory and salary rates, are important, but I feel like not as important as the other two. Why? Because history has shown that those two factors do not weigh as heavy as the first two. So sometimes we have periods where people had an average salary or the inventory was high or low and it just barely moved the real estate market. So I'm personally looking out for interest rates rising and unemployment rate spiking. And last, I want to give you one more tip, because lately I have seen, and especially with my friends, that people are just offering the maximum amount that they can borrow at the bank, not thinking about what they're actually offering per square meter or per square foot. They just offer the total amount that they can borrow. And then you get these crazy examples where people are offering more than 100,000 above asking price in a single family home. But I am asking you, why are you buying, or why do you want to buy that house or apartment? Is it to live in it for a year, for 3 years, for 5 years, your entire life? You want to make a family there? Is the apartment or the house close to your work? And can you still afford the monthly payments if you lose your job or maybe your partner? And what happens to the payments or the house if the real estate market suddenly crashes? Just really think of the purpose of the house. What do you want that the house does for you? And if you have that very clear, then most likely at some point in your journey, you will find the right house or apartment that fits exactly all your needs. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a bit of a short one. I hope you guys enjoyed it anyways. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, click on the bell, click on all so that you don't miss anything. Leave me a comment or share with your friends if you think it is useful. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you next one. Bye bye.